James Moore and Company. I'm just going to very briefly tell you about yesterday. We did present our audit report of the Southeast Volusia Advertising Authority yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock before the authority board. At the exact same time that we began presenting our audit, PDF copies of that audit report should have been emailed to every county council member, and I know from talking to you, I believe you all received a copy. And as well, we gave you a hard printed copy today. The audit report, our audit opinion, was unqualified. Just to refresh your memory, that means that the financial statements are not materially, they're fairly stated in all material respects. We did issue our report on internal control, compliance, and other matters. And in the discussion and disclosure of those items, we did have 13 material weaknesses, 15 compliance and other matters, and 3 recommendations. I'm not going to go through every one of the comments that we had because you all have them in front of you. But there's two things I'd like to share with you which are not in that report and just might help you, I think. As you know from us presenting our audit on the county, we have a lot of different layers of responsibility when we are reporting on an entity that spends public money. Okay, the first thing is we must issue an opinion on the financial statements themselves. Are they fairly stated in all material respects, including all required disclosures? We did that. Okay, then we also have to go ahead and issue an internal control report that addresses any deficiencies in internal control. And we must also address compliance and other issues. Compliance is instances in which the entity did not comply. And then we must also disclose other matters. And the definition of other matters is fraud and potential fraud and abuse. 13 instances in which either one of those items by themselves or when combined in their totality was a material weakness. Now also, I mentioned to you that the second part of our report is compliance and other matters. Other matters includes potential fraud and abuse. As auditors, actually, we are precluded from saying something is fraudulent. We're not attorneys, it's not our job. We could bring something to your attention which potentially could be fraudulent. But something that we are actually tasked with is identifying whether or not abuse has occurred. And abuse is a matter of auditor judgment, but the Yellow Book, which is government accounting standards, actually gives us some direction. And I wanted to share with you, because I did at the authority board meeting yesterday and it's not in our report, I wanted to share with you what the Yellow Book, Government Accounting Standards, calls abuse. Abuse involves behavior that is deficient or improper when compared with behavior that a prudent person would consider reasonable and necessary business practice given the facts and circumstances. Abuse also includes misuse of authority or position for personal financial interests or those of an immediate or close family member or business associate. Abuse does not necessarily involve fraud or non-compliance with provisions of laws, regulations, contracts, or agreements. I thought those definitions might be helpful for you. And since you have our report and all of our comments, I guess I'll just stop here and see if you all have any comments or questions for me, or if anyone in county management wants to add anything.
Bernadette, let me ask you a question. What you were reading from is something different than what I have in front of me.
Right. The one thing that I read you, the definition of material weakness is actually in our internal control report, which is part of that final report.
Okay.
But what I read to you, which is the definition of abuse, that's not in our report. It's out of government auditing standards.
Okay.
And because it's an unusual concept, for me anyway, in 33 years auditing, I don't know that I've actually ever had a report on that before, but I thought it was important that I share with you what that definition was, because I didn't make it up. Government auditing standards did.
And I appreciate that. I guess my concern is that, and I've been reading in the paper about, specifics, but I have not gotten anything specific to me. I mean, and I'm wondering why council members haven't received any information on a lot of these things. So I don't have anything, and I guess you presented in front of the board yesterday.
I'd be happy, Mr. Green, you want to give me some direction? I gave you all the reports, so you had it in your totality. I'm happy to do the report for you all. I didn't know that that's
No,
what...
I think, Frank, no, let me make this real clear. We did not receive the report until you received it.
This report?
This report.
Or what was presented yesterday?
They're one and the same.
They're one and the same. She didn't have it done until yesterday.
Okay.
In fact, we pushed hard for them to get it done, and the board is the one who she was reporting it to first, because they are the ones that actually were being
And
reviewed.
Mr. Deneen, I have no problem with all
Right.
of that. It's just the idea that I'm seeing this right now for the first time.
Correct.
And I'm not able to really comment on anything because I don't really have the background information on it. All we're doing then essentially is accepting a report, is all I'm saying.
Actually, the report was for SEBA. You're being told that it was, what she'll do is go through any level of detail you want.
Well,
She did-
I can't ask her to do that when I haven't read it yet, is what I'm saying. And I don't want her to do that until I have an opportunity to read it. You know what I'm saying?
I guess the bottom line is, for example, if she says that a person collected pay per diem,
Sure.
what she's telling you is, in the records, and unless you want to go through the records with it, she's telling you she found that they were given money and received per
And I
diem.
fully accept all of that, no question about that. And I think you're very confident, and I think that they've done a great job, and I commend you for doing all the things that you're doing. I just feel like I'm personally at a little bit of a disadvantage because I didn't have anything for this meeting.
We did send it to you, Frank, at 4 o'clock via email yesterday.
And I was totally out of
I
pocket.
know.
And you can
You,
understand my
I
schedule.
understand completely. I wanted to make sure, because we went through,
Yeah.
we were very careful,
Well-
to make sure that we release it to the county
Mr.
council
Chair.
the exact same
I
time.
guess my
Chair.
point is that I hope we'll have an opportunity to speak on this down the road.
You will. Here's what I'm trying to do, is that she did not finish this report until yesterday. So what I asked her to do was, because what we're trying to do is, as soon as she finished it, FDNLE wants it to do their investigation.
Sure.
So what she did is she finished it, read it to them yesterday, just went through no more than the actual wording that's in the report. She basically read the wording in the report.
Yes.
I had her give it to you at the exact same time she gave it to them, and I asked her to come today so that she could go over with you the parameters of what happened, in other words, what she gave them, and where we were going to go from here. Now, based on what she tells you, if you want her to come back to the next meeting, if you want to have a special meeting, we can accommodate that. My thing was that I can't go any quicker than she had the report done.
Yeah, and I want you to know that I appreciate everything, and I'm not being critical of anything. It's just the idea that, and I understand that because of what you did see and what you presented to the board, and also with working with our legal staff as well as the county manager, we'll be probably looking at sending this for review to the FDLE or whatever. I'm not sure where we
That's
are
what
on that.
we were going to talk about that today too, what the next steps are.
And that's really what I need to understand, what the
Well,
next.
and if I
That's
could interject for a minute, maybe it would be helpful if I could take 5 minutes
Yeah,
to go through the gist of the comments. Would that be helpful?
it would be helpful to me. I don't know if the council wants to do that at this point. It would be helpful to me, honestly. Do you have anyone else?
You bet. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to go over the financial statements itself. I think that obviously everybody's big areas of concern.
And Bernadette, I want you to understand that the public thinks that we, the chairman, council members, we have all this information and we're able to respond to everything. I have nothing, okay? Council members have nothing.
Okay,
So
well,
we're just
for
trying to
the
get
record,
update.
what Mr. Deneen said is absolutely true. The report was released at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. That was the first time it was made public, period. It was the first time county administration saw it. It was the first time the authority board members saw it. And it was when it was emailed to every county council member. That all happened simultaneously on purpose, but with great care. But at any rate, I will very quickly go over with you what our major areas of concern were. Okay, and the first material weakness that we had, I mentioned to you that we had, hold on a second, 13.
Yes.
I gave you definition of material weakness. The first comment actually had to do with the new executive's compensation. In a nutshell, she was paid $40,725 for hours that she purportedly worked from mid-May to mid-July. And Florida statute sections prohibit an authority board member from being compensated concurrently or retroactively for any services rendered to the authority while an authority board member. So any amounts paid her for hours worked prior to her resignation from the board on June 24th, 2011, roughly $37,075 is against state statute. In addition, there were inconsistencies in the hours that she reported, hours that she reported initially to the bookkeeping service were less than hours that she later provided to the counties. And also she did bill the authority for 69 hours from the period May 12th to May 19th, which was while the former executive director was still there. So we thought that that was something worth mentioning. The majority of the payments and all of the retroactive payments that she received were all initialed by the treasurer indicating approval.